Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is early Saturday, September 14th, 2024. Yesterday, in the evening time, the news broke that a young entertainer had died. This time it's Michaela DePrince, a ballerina who's been in a feature film, who made a big name for herself about 8 years ago in Beyonce's Lemonade film that debuted on HBO. And we're going to talk about the significance of her being announced dead in a Los Angeles hospital on the anniversary of Tupac Shakur. Her last name, DePrince. Remember, Tupac died on Caesar Borgia's birthday. And this woman was announced dead on Caesar Borgia's birthday, which is September 13th. And Machiavelli, the real one, not the alias of Tupac Machiavelli, but the real Machiavelli wrote The Prince based on Caesar Borgia. And recall, Prince died by the numbers in 2016, the same year Lemonade came out. And then on the real Machiavelli's birthday, which is May 3rd, Tupac's mother was the headline that she was dead. And if you go back and look, she actually died May 2nd, but nobody broke the news on May 2nd. Tupac's mom's death was announced May 3rd, again on the real Machiavelli's birthday. So let's just go through it one more time to be redundant and make sure we got it. Caesar Borgia's birthday is September 13th. The famous book by Machiavelli, The Prince, kind of like De Prince, is based on Caesar Borgia. And remember, after Tupac died, also on September 13th in history, the Machiavelli album was rushed out and put out 53 days later on Remember the 5th of November, November 5th, which this year will be the election date. And that's really, if you only have a minute to listen to the video, that's really the big takeaway. But there's a lot more to this. That Lemonade music video movie hour-long thing that came out on Jesuit run HBO, it's very connected to New Orleans, where the upcoming Super Bowl is. And remember, earlier this week, Frankie Beverly was announced dead, who had the huge album Live in New Orleans with the song Before I Let Go, which Beyoncé recently covered, just like how this young woman was in Beyonce's music video. I'm going to show you what Beyonce has to do with this as well, because we know how the world of celebrity works. When you're high up on the totem pole, a lot of people connected to you who are lower on that totem pole, they end up in the obituaries. Like if you read this woman's story right now, it's syndicated on every news outlet, but nobody knows what she died from, just that she died at a hospital at 29. Okay, so the news was definitely announced September 13th. Again, once again, reading different publications. I'm seeing some outlets say she died Thursday. Some say she's died at 11:40 p.m. on September 13th. So all kinds of discrepancies here in the reporting again. And you see this time and time again when these celebrities die, the conflicting reports, the rushed out news where no one knows the cause of death. Story doesn't make any sense. Since when do 29-year-old women just drop dead? There's been a lot more of that actually has happened post 2020, but we know in the world of celebrity, there's a lot of these passings by a very ritualistic code, paying tribute to history. So, again, just Frankie Beverly, his big hit song, connected to the Live in New Orleans album. Again, this young woman also connected to Beyonce. Lemonade, very connected to New Orleans. Again, the Super Bowl upcoming this year, Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. We're going to get to that piece. But this is the thing about dying at age 29 when you're a young black celebrity, as our culture defines that skin color. Again, we know black people aren't truly black, but we see time and time again that the numerical code behind the language black equates to 29. And see, she was announced dead on September 13th, which is the day leaving 109 days left in the year. and 109 is the 29th prime number. Again, prime numbers are those that can only be divided by 1 in themselves. So no other numbers divide into 109 other than 1 and 109. And you know what else? September 13th in a leap year is the 257th day of the year. That's the 55th prime number. The phrase blood sacrifice equates to 257. Also, in light of 257 being the 55th prime number, Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans this year will be the 55th Super Bowl of the modern era. And keep in mind the word Satan equates to 55. So we got to watch out for Marilyn Manson this year because he's 55 years old. He's a member of the Church of Satan. If you guys know who Jesse Lee Peterson is, I find that man to be a very suspicious individual. And, you know, he just happened to upload yesterday an interview with a satanic priest out of all the days in the year he could have done it. It wasn't a good interview at all. Jesse wasn't asking the right questions at all. And the satanic dude wasn't revealing any information. But I just thought, what a day to put up this interview. Get Jesse Lee Peterson, who claims to be a man of God, but then tells his audience the only real sin is being angry and it's okay to cheat on your wife. Okay. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But if you're new here, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language: the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order, and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. And when you apply numerology and run the alphabetic order forwards and backwards, notice how football equates to 29 and in reverse 43. Again, this is connected to New Orleans. It's hosting the Super Bowl that had the Blackout Bowl, Super Bowl 47, the Harbaugh Bowl, where John equals 47 and Jim equals 32, and John won Super Bowl 47. And you might have noticed the Saints' first game of this season where they're going to host the Super Bowl. Again, they scored 47 points like the last Super Bowl they hosted. And the first touchdown of the game by New Orleans was a 59-yarder. And you know, football equaling 29, that's the date of the Super Bowl this upcoming season. It's February 9th, 29, just like this young woman's dead at 29, right after Beyonce's 43rd birthday. See, Beyonce just turned 43 on September 4th. And we're going to get to the significance of Jay-Z, her husband, being connected to the world of hip-hop like Tupac and his age right now in a moment. But we were just talking about this earlier this week. Frankie Beverly's death, how his Live in New Orleans album with the song Before I Let Go on it, how it turned 43 years old this year. And again, Beyonce just covered that song in recent years. If you missed my work on his death, go back and check it out. I just had somebody leave a comment last night about how they can't believe I didn't cover the death of the Atlanta rapper, Homie Rich Quan. Or is it Rich Homie Quan? I get dyslexic with his name, but I have 3 videos on his death. You guys click the video and live tab. You're not getting notifications for my content. That's why all of my views are so bad. You got to click my channel and check the video and live tab to see what's been put up. Watch, I'm going to have people all week asking me to cover this. I'll be like, I did it right after the news broke. But yeah, again, it's 43 years since this album came out. And look at the young woman's name who's dead. DePrince, 43, right? Michaela DePrince, 81. The Frankie Valli album came out in 81. What's the square root of 81? 9. How many days after Beyonce's birthday is she dead? She's dead, announced dead 9 days after Beyonce's birthday in the 9th month. You see? And, you know, just moving on. From her birthday to her death being announced was 251 days later. Ritual sacrifice has that gematria 251. Remember, blood sacrifice is 257, going with her being dead on the 257th day of the year. And I've had people, you know, critique and say, well, you're using the phrase ritual sacrifice and blood sacrifice. You know what? They're both real phrases that are used by the occult, and they're real things that have happened throughout history. And again, here we are 251 days after her birthday on the 257th day of the year. So that would be my argument. Where's your counter argument that's logical? And let's also move on to all the other proof. 251 is the 54th prime number. New Orleans has the 54 connection. And remember, Joe Montana equals 54. He won his 4th Super Bowl there. Super Bowl 54 was the Joe Montana Bowl. Last year, Super Bowl 58 was the 54th of the modern era. It was also the Joe Montana Bowl. His two teams playing each other, the Chiefs over the Niners. The Chiefs won the 2019 season, and then they became the first team to go back-to-back in 19 years. Joe Montana, again, wore 19 for the Chiefs. Last year, the game went to overtime, 19-19. And Mecole Hardman caught the game winner for his 19th career touchdown, not to mention Deebo Samuel, still wearing 19 last year, was the first player to take the field 19 minutes after the hour, which we called out in real time. As we told you before the game even started, it was going to be all about 19 because it's all numbers, it's all rigged, it's all scripted, it's all ritual day after day, and the blood sacrifices come with it. Been here 11 years showing that. Now look at the 4 base ciphers of New Orleans with the alphabetic order 126, like Michaela DePrince. Again, she really made a big name for herself when the Lemonade music video came out, again in 2016. And notice how it came out 2 days after Prince's death, right? Prince died on April 21st, the Queen's birthday, 2016. Remember, he died on 4/21. He had the hit song on Purple Rain, I Would Die For You, with the number 4 and the letter U, and U is the 21st letter of the alphabet. So his song was I Would Die 4/21, and he died on 4/21. And again, you guys, Vanity, his girlfriend, died the day of the 58th Grammys. Purple Rain equals 58. That was the year of the 58th U.S. presidential election. Prince died at 57, meaning he died in his 58th year of life. They lit up Niagara Falls purple the day he died. That's where Vanity's from. Vanity was a beauty pageant winner from Niagara Falls. Again, how they synced it up with the 58th U.S. presidential election when Prince had the song Black Donald Trump. Prince also had the song 319, and he died 319 days after his birthday. But here, coming back to the base ciphers, New Orleans, 126, like Michaela DePrince with the alphabetic order. When you apply numerology to the alphabetic order, you get a smaller number. And that's, again, because in the first cipher, N is the 14th letter, E is the 5th, W is the 23rd, O is the 15th, R is the 18th. In the next cipher, where New Orleans is 45, you take the same alphabetic order, but you apply numerology. So N, the 14th letter, the numerology of 14 is 1 plus 4 is 5. E is already a single-digit number, so it's still 5. W, the 23rd letter, becomes 2 plus 3 is 5. O, the 15th letter, becomes 1 plus 5 is 6. So then you add up the word with these smaller numbers. New Orleans, 45. Now, 45 is the 9th triangular number, meaning if you add 1 through 9 together, it equals 45. Again, she's dead 9 days after Beyonce's birthday. New Orleans, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, is 144. And when you run it in reverse with numerology, it's 54. So we're just going backwards. Z is 1, back to A is 26, and backwards with numerology. Look, you guys, from the anniversary of Lemonade premiering on HBO, which was founded by a Jesuit, Charles Dolan, and it's the Jesuits who are behind all this. From the anniversary of that release until the death announcement, 144 days. Just like New Orleans is 144, just like Jesuit orders 144. And the small way Jesuit orders 54. Funny enough, Jay-Z's 54 right now. The Super Bowl this year is 54 days after the Pope's birthday. And remember, it's down in Louisiana, which came out of the Louisiana Purchase, which was from the French, where the Jesuits were created in Paris, France. The first Jesuit Pope is Pope Francis. Sorry, there's a big clunk outside. I was just, what is that? I think somebody just misshifted. But yeah, if you guys are new here, this is what I'm educating about all the time. How the Jesuits gave us the calendar that says today is September 14th, 2024, the day I'm doing this broadcast. Again, the Jesuits gave us the calendar, and English standardized with the 26-letter alphabet at the end of the 16th century. They set up a system, and you learn this system, and you look through history, going back to the 16th century, you see history's been rolling out like this by a code. And blood sacrifice has been part of the code the whole time. But yeah, John Carroll University is where Charles Dolan went, the founder of HBO. We covered many Jesuit rituals and death rituals connected to this network so many times. Don't even get me started what they did with Omar from The Wire on Idris Elba's birthday, or what they did with the Euphoria drug dealer who they said died from a drug overdose. It's just it's cold, the stuff they do. And he was rumored to be potentially playing in a movie about Mac Miller, who had the song about the Jesuits, who died on the anniversary of Tupac getting shot. And remember, Tupac's shooting anniversary, September 7th. Every year, fateful deaths on that day. And we covered several of them again this year. And that's because death equals 97 and murder equals 79. And you can write that date 97 or 79. You had the Clemson football player, his name equaled 79. You had Nicole Kidman's mother, 79 days after Nicole Kidman's birthday, on and on and on. All right, with regards to this year's Super Bowl being in NOLA or New Orleans, again, slave, Negro, Rasta, blues, they all equal 59. Again, Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. Motown came out in 59. They did O.J. Simpson So Dirty 59 days after the last Super Bowl. And if you think it's an accident that Josh Allen of the Bills, O.J.'s team, comes out with the season wearing a glove and they keep talking about it all night, you got to wake up, okay? There's nothing wrong with Josh Allen's hand. Again, that's a tribute to O.J. And again, they announced O.J. dead as the Masters were teeing off. Ephesians 6, it's verses 5 through 9. Slaves, obey your masters. Master equals 76, like San Francisco. O.J. dead at 76, San Francisco native, while the Bills are 7-6 all time against the Niners. And again, if you're not with us on Patreon, I mean, we're smashing this football season. We're 15-2 in picks, and we had the Bills to win by 20, and the Bills to win with 31 points. They won by 21, and they won with 31 points. And if you're saying, well, how do you pick those things? We knew that if the Bills won by 20, it was going to be 35 Thursday. And if you don't know what 35 Thursday is, get informed. I've been teaching about it for a decade with the rigged NFL. Again, Josh Allen stayed on 35 losses. The Dolphins stayed on 35 home wins versus the Bills all time. Thursday is the day of the week that equals 35, like football, like Super Bowl. By the way, she was announced dead 149 days before the Super Bowl, which is the 35th prime. And some reports are saying she died on Thursday, so she might very well have died on 35 Thursday. But the reason we thought the Bills would win with 31 is because then they would have 65 total points on the season on a 65 date numerology in Florida, which equals 65, as Josh Allen got his 65th regular season home win, which he did. And we called the Packers to lose with 29 last week. We called the Niners to win by 12. On Monday Night Football, they end up winning by 13. Again, all of these things are massive payouts. And again, it's because the games are rigged, you guys. And all of you come here and deny what I'm showing for now over 11 years showing this. I started showing this in August of 2013. I don't know how we have any critics in the world. I don't know how we have any skeptics at this point. I don't know, what kind of spell humanity's under. You better go back and listen to that Damian Marley Nas song. Nas says, who made up words, who made up numbers, and what kind of spell is mankind under? Well, here's the one answer I have to that. Whatever the spell is, I've never been under it because I've been seeing through all this for all of my life. And once I figured out this little number and language thing, we've been connecting the dots, with remarkable accuracy ever since. But again, you guys, don't forget how many bodies have already dropped for this upcoming Super Bowl. Richard Simmons, his birth name is Milton Simmons, which equals 59. He's from New Orleans. He was announced dead right after Jacoby Jones, who died at age 40. Like the Super Bowl is going to be on February 9th, the 40th day of the year. He wore number 12 and played for the Ravens, the last team to win a Super Bowl in New Orleans. And he was a big part of that team. Again, he wore 12. The last Super Bowl in New Orleans was 12 years ago, 47, just like the Saints scored 47 in week 1. You know what else is sad? This woman, this DePrince woman, DePrince also equates to 47. She's dead right after the Saints win with 47. But there's so many different. It's just sad how many deaths that have already been connected to this season, to the upcoming Super Bowl. I can't even remember them all, but we've been documenting them. And here's another. And, of course, the reflection of 59 is 95. The Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses, recognized by Rome on September 27th, the day leaving 95 days left in the earth to stop Martin Luther and the 95 Theses. And that's why they smoked Martin Luther King Jr. on the 95th day of the year. And again, the Georgia coach, where MLK's from, he got his 95th win to start this season. Going to be the first ever college championship on Martin Luther King Jr. Day this year. MLK smoked on 4-4. Georgia equals 44. The fourth state, kill equals 44. Dabu Sweeney got his 44th loss against Georgia to start the season. Roddy White came out and said Clemson's too white. And the next thing you know, a young black man's dead on the anniversary of Tupac getting shot, who played at Clemson. Just like Tyshawn Dye died a few years back for Clemson, perfectly synced with Dabu Sweeney. Again, if you missed the death of the recent Clemson player, go back and see that video from last weekend. Remember, the Bavarian Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, and part of the plan was to infiltrate Freemasonry. And modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation anyway. But notice how the Bavarian Illuminati is 95 and 139, and this woman's announced dead on 13/9, synced with the Pope 95 days before his birthday. So again, Jesuits created modern Freemasonry. Jesuits created the Bavarian Illuminati. Bavaria equals 54, like Jesuit order. Like this year's Super Bowl is going to be 54 days after the Pope's birthday, again in New Orleans, which equals 54. And this young woman's dead 251 days from her birthday, the 54th prime. If you can keep it all straight, you practice enough, you'll be able to keep it all straight. You talk about it every day like I do, you'll keep it all straight. But notice also what's in her name, you guys. DePrince, 74, like ballerina, like killing, like stabbing. Remember, the 74th day of the year is to remember the killing of Caesar by stabbing, the Ides of March. Remember, this is the Society of Jesus, who changed the name from Yeshua to Jesus. Jesus, cross, Messiah, parables, gospel, all 74, like Jewish, like Jesus from Judea, like stolen identities, because the only physical description is that of a darker complected man with hair like wool, kind of like Tupac, who's on the cross on the Machiavelli album. But Lucifer and occult, also 74. And notice how ballerina, killing, Lucifer, they all have the 74-38 connection. Also notice the overlap in the four ciphers with Masonic and Lucifer. 74, 115, 43. Beyonce just turned 43, 43 years after the Frankie Beverly album. Tupac on the cross on November 5th, 11/5. I should have put the word Masonic. Or I did. Sorry, it's early in the morning. Yeah, Masonic and Lucifer, you know. And notice the 29 in Masonic as well, right? Her age of death. American football credited to modern Freemasonry. In light of it being on the anniversary of Tupac's death, the date that can be written 13/9, Tupac Shakur and Freemasonry, 139, 158. Again, anniversary of Tupac's death, who died on Caesar Borgia's birthday. The book by Machiavelli, The Prince, based on Caesar Borgia. The Prince, now who's dead, a ballerina with the last name DePrince, who again got famous 2 days after Prince died. And then Tupac's mother was announced dead days later on the real Machiavelli's birthday, May 3rd, 5/3, like the Tupac album came out 53 days after his death. Religion's 53. This is a religious order that does this. By the way, the play on Machiavelli, the way Tupac did it, 74. Notice how Tupac, Jesus, and Cross all have the 74 connection. You can see how Tupac, Jesus, and Cross are all 74 and 61. Remember, 61 special because in sacred geometry, which is where this whole, well, in sacred geometry, the flower of life has 61 overlapping circles, and it represents God. And again, the practice of coding numbers into words, gematria, however you want to say it, it means geometry and language. So there's a direct relation with sacred geometry and what they've encoded in the language. And just for the record, you know, the Jesuits from France, they got strongholds all over the world. France and UK are some of their, you know, outside of Rome are some of their most powerful territories. The Jesuits created modern Freemasonry in the UK. Again, we're born in France. But Sierra Leone, where this woman's from, is a French-English territory. And again, you guys should look into the history of World War I. They blame it on the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, but if you look into what was really going on, France and England were carving up Africa, and then Germany started to carve up Africa too, and France and England didn't like that. Said, oh, no, we want this. We want to exploit these people and take their resources just for us. We don't want you as part of it. And again, so yeah, all this history, guys, is super deep. and day after day, people are, history is being paid tribute to, and most people don't have a clue about any of this history. And again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share and helps get the word out there. It's funny, I was just out in Portland speaking on the streets a few weeks back, and the good news that came out of that is somehow, some way, my name and information got passed on to a radio station in Portland from doing that, and I got a little interview today, and I think they're just recording it and going to play it later. But I'll keep you guys posted. We'll see how that interview goes. Maybe we'll get more people in Portland up on the knowledge, and might even have to talk about this a second time today since this was current. But yeah, I mean, there are so many things to talk about with this information because it's going on sadly every day. But just here one more time, the quick recap. You're trying to wake your friends and family up. This young woman got famous 2 days after Prince died, really, because she's in the Lemonade, musical that Beyonce put out on HBO that came out 2 days after Prince died. And again, we've always talked about Tupac and Prince. She's announced dead on Tupac's death anniversary. Tupac died on Caesar Borgia's birthday, September 13th, who the Prince is modeled after, the book written by Machiavelli. And then, of course, again, the Tupac album with him on the cross like Jesus comes out after his death on Remember the 5th of November. And then years later, right after Prince dies, and then she gets featured in the Lemonade music video 2 days later. Then just days later, Tupac's mom is announced dead on the real Machiavelli's birthday, May 3rd. And again, somebody might go back and look up and go, she died on May 2nd, not May 3rd. Yep, nobody's arguing that. But go look at all the headlines. No story broke about her dying on May 2nd. All the news broke on May 3rd. I remember like it was yesterday. And think about it. What are the odds that that was all in 2016, the same year Lemonade came out? So yeah, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. I always have tons of work to do on a Saturday with all the sports I got to keep up with, but this information has to get out there. So again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. If you want to join us on Patreon to take advantage of the rig games, we'll be streaming later today, and we'll leave it there for now. Links in the description to support the work. Thank you to everyone who does. And until next time, Truth Seeker.